Hey, everybody, it's Eddie from Tokyo, and boy, do I have a really great guest with me today. This is Sarah Buxton, and she's a hired gun that has been roped into working for a company, I understand, that is really making waves in the space. I should say tsunamis in the space. And she is, well, I'm going to let her tell you what she is doing, but she is no kidding here. She's changing the world. And I'm not just saying that, but she really is. This is a part of Gala Games, and she is really heading up the division called Gala Music. And I'll stop now. Please tell us about yourself. Let everyone know what's going on.
Hey, Eddie, it's an absolute pleasure to come and chat to you. So thank you for having me. And I would just like to caveat, I myself am not changing the world. I'm helping a lot of very smart, clever, enthusiastic and passionate people to do that. I just happen to be along for the ride doing what I can. So that's my role. I'm actually COO at Gala, and I am CEO of Gala Music. And that is as crazy as it sounds. I think Gala is this force of nature, truly. When I joined the company, we were less than 20. We're now upwards of 350 people globally, a truly decentralized business, which is wonderful. So we gather together as much as we can, but we are all over the world effectively. Yeah. And we love a challenge, that's for sure. And when we take on a challenge, we don't half do it. We definitely jump in with both feet first. And that's the case with music. And I think we landed on getting involved in the music industry for not a dissimilar reason that when we did for the games industry, in actual fact. So as weird as it might sound from the outside, like, what on earth are you guys doing? And are you qualified to do that? The answer is yes, we're qualified, and we're doing it because we feel like the vision and the cause is actually not dissimilar to what we've already seen and what we believe in.
Yeah, that's good. I think that I know you're being humble, but when the world does change, they do look to facilitators. And so maybe, okay, so I really appreciate the fact that you are in that role, because you are bringing clearly a lot of benefits, and blockchain and Web 3.0 are bringing some huge changes for the music artist. And I think seriously, in a breakdown of what those benefits are for the artist, I'd love for you to share that.
Of course. And I'm very happy to share it, because it's something that when you talk to an artist about this, they literally light up, and they do it for the right reasons. So a lot of people, and I think we have to be really careful with that, with people coming in and taking out of the space and not investing into it. And I think we're in this stage of development now where we are starting to attract more people, and that is great. And that's what we absolutely need. We need this space to be embraced and by everybody, and to be accessible to more people than the early adopters that are currently here, because it is super early. But from an artist point of view, they don't own their stuff, right? So just think of that for a second. Like, they have poured their hearts, often their souls, into these tracks, into these words, into these, the lyrics and the rhythms and all of the things that they've worked on. And then effectively that's packaged up and commercialized. And that's what we've done to it. We've modularized music. We've got it down to such a fine art through accountants and lawyers and deals with corporations, that we've actually lost sight a little bit of the creativity and the wonder that music brings. And I think that is something that Web3, that decentralization, that blockchain can actually really, really unlock and set free. And I think that's what we're excited about. So if I was going to give it in a very short form as an answer, which I'm really rubbish at incidentally, I would say that it allows an artist to have genuine control of their music. I would say it allows an artist to be able to make money themselves from their music without so many hands in the cookie jar. And it allows fans to benefit from that entire process by being closer to the artists they love and support, by getting involved early stage and supporting emerging artists, and for both of those cases to actually be rewarded for doing so. So we're starting with a concept of, we've obviously seen play and earn, and that's something we've championed on the games side. So it's not a huge step to go into listen and earn, on the music side. And I think that way, you know, Web3 is a wonderful place because we're still, and I really hope we stay like this, we're still at a stage where everybody can win. Like everybody in this scenario can win. Nobody needs to feel exploited or that they're, you know, they're being used or, you know, they're getting sort of cut out of their own art or their own creation. And that's a wonderful thing. We've seen it in the digital art space already. Artists getting awarded over and over and over again, depending what goes on in the secondary market. So I think it's time that, you know, musicians as fellow artists, just like developers, just like other creators, can have a piece of that too. So that's what we're doing. We're giving them a piece of ownership, control, and sharing with their fan bases.
Yeah, so you have this really unique, well, I think the music nodes are interesting because it's part of the earning rewards, right? So not only is the musician benefiting from this business model, and it really is a new model, that's why it's so exciting, but also the fans have this new opportunity through the music nodes. And I have to tell you, I did a little research, but I'm still a little blurry because I think there's 3 different nodes, right? And I don't understand the total difference. And I think maybe if you can just explain the difference between those different nodes.
Sure, it's a wonderful world, isn't it, of complexity that we need to absolutely work harder to make a bit more clear and concise as well. So the nodes you're talking about on the music side, so we have on the Gala side we have our founder nodes, and they are the nodes. There's 50,000 founder nodes. Any one time at the moment we have about 28,000 online on average. Which when you think of like Ethereum, which I think it's about 8.5, shows you the kind of size and scope of this decentralized network. Those nodes do a really important job for us, hosting all of the NFTs that we have in games. As the ecosystem develops, they will take on more and more burden for that content that we're hosting for our games. So if you flip over to the world of music, we have, I call it seeding. It might not be the right term, but Jason hasn't shouted at me yet about it. He's our president of blockchain, so I'm going to keep using it. So we have started to seed our initial music node network. So we've got 25,000 nodes at the moment. There are no more nodes right now for sale because we have to make sure that we've got everything that we want in place and that we've tested and that we're happy with the workloads and all of the other things that come as part and parcel of that, including all of the tokenomics that are associated with earnings, of course. So those founder nodes in Gala, there's player nodes in music. Those nodes are pretty much used in the same way. So any music content that's being hosted and any music NFTs can be hosted on those nodes. And as an NFT holder, you don't necessarily have to own a node, but what you can do is you can pair an NFT with a node and then both get earnings as a result of that. So you don't need to be a node owner to be able to enjoy the system. The other node is called a fan node. We haven't launched any of these yet. And the reason we haven't launched any of these yet is because they're a special use case and they are for an artist who is, for want of a better word, completely prolific and has this uber fan base that basically it's that front row experience. So the fan nodes will be very limited in number and they will be specific to that artist and that artist's immediate, their immediate works and creations and things like that, and the things that they want to do. So they will get a higher distribution of that artist's work and materials. So they're treated slightly differently to the player nodes, which have access to the whole ecosystem. And just another little footnote on nodes and earnings. What's quite nice about that is when you come to NFTs, just at a really high level, if we have, because this is about emerging artists, actually bizarrely way more than it is about established artists. So I understand that the streaming revenues are horrendous. I understand that you know, owning your own art and having the rights to your own music is incredibly important, so that you've got the freedom and flexibility to keep creating with it and to do new things with it and to come up with new collaborations and new formats. However, I think there's a bigger issue right now, which is how gated the music industry is and how people can't get into the space. And that's what I'm really hoping. And you've seen precedents already set with independent developers, in our case, and independent artists and, you know, digital art in the digital art space. I'm hoping that those emerging artists now get a chance to be supported, and for those supporters who maybe buy those early NFTs that are really small in quantity, so low quantity, but then end up, those tracks get played over and over again, obviously they then access a higher % of distribution because there's less of them. So you see that everybody in that scenario wins. There's no downside. So that's what we're doing. We're trying to create a much fairer, free-flowing system. Yes, we need the big artists to come in to support that, because we need obviously the volume and the credibility and all of those things and the learnings from those guys. We're not experts in the music space. That, according to a few people we're working with, is actually to our benefit, but that doesn't mean we're not bringing those experts in, and the artists are like the best people to talk to. But obviously we've got people from the industry involved as well, just to keep us on the straight and narrow and making sure that we don't make any howlers, because howlers are bad.
But you're really, really lucky to have Snoop Dogg working with you, because he's really, I think, going to be instrumental in helping you get through what works, what doesn't work. And he's got a huge fan base. And I'm just happy to see that he is, you know, participating on this new journey with everybody, when everybody doesn't know exactly where it's going. It's really fun.
It's funny you say that, because and he'll laugh because he gets this. Like, I would say Snoop Dogg is actually very lucky to be working with us too. It's definitely we do have a chuckle, but it's a really weird partnership. And we have this conversation quite a lot, that, you know, people like he and I, you don't normally crash into each other. And my way of seeing things around, you know, pricing strategies and how I would take something to market versus what he's obviously gone through and been, you know, incredibly successful doing. But it's those wonderful collaborations about coming up with ideas that didn't exist until those people were in a room together. And that is what's happening. It's a truly wonderful, sometimes it's a tension. Sometimes I definitely step into the mum role and say no. But Snoop is, you know, I think he's just turning into a bit of an icon, and he is one of the hardest working people I have ever met. And we will often, you know, I'll pick up the phone on, you know, 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. in the morning to him, because he's still working from the night before. He's still buzzing, he's still got ideas, and he doesn't stop. So he is a brilliant person, absolutely, to be involved. And I think he also cares about the future of the industry. You know, what's the legacy? What are we building here? And we had a conversation the other day about, we're not ignoring the musicians that have been in the NFT space for a long time, you know, like basically paving the way for everybody else. And it would be an absolute travesty if those guys get looked over, because now, you know, famous faces or bigger names are entering the space and they're basically benefiting from the stuff that those guys did. And I think what we have to do is be really true to ourselves, that we're not trying to rebuild the music industry on the blockchain. We're not trying to create another streaming service that you don't really need. We're doing something completely and utterly different and new, and we don't quite know where it'll end up. And that's okay. And actually, that's fun, dare I say it, you know? And that's what the artists, and we've got another major one that we'll announce next week. It's a platinum selling band, and they're all in as well. And once you get that confidence, and once you're starting to get those kind of inputs from people that have genuinely been there and done it, that benefits us as an ecosystem, that benefits the fandom, but that also benefits the emerging artists as well, because we can all, in typical Web3 style, we can all work together, because no one can stop us. No one can tell us we can't do stuff, and that's wonderful.
Yeah, it's really, it has its freedom. So it's really great that he's helping pave this path. I think we're really lucky to have him, as we are for him to have found you to make it happen. So I think that he's going to be appearing on a live stream in like 9 hours from now.
It's going to be a nightmare. They're an absolute nightmare.
Yeah. Get up before then. I'm probably going to get this uploaded. So maybe you should just tell people where they can find that.
Yeah, sure. Come and watch, because it'll be highly amusing, me trying to control the conversation, bearing in mind the 2 guests that are appearing, and one of them you will all definitely know, and they're good friends. So it's going to be an interesting one to navigate, and I'm hoping he doesn't promise a load of stuff that I haven't actually told the engineering team about yet, because I'll get in trouble. But it's on all of the places you would expect to find Gala. So if you look at the Go Gala Music Twitter account, you will be able to get a link there. It will be on the Gala Games YouTube channel, because we still have one channel, you know, one family type thing. And then on the Gala Games Music Discord, there's a channel in there, and Snoop has popped in a few times, but there's a channel in there called the Dog Pound, and we will be taking questions from the Dog Pound. I think the community have already put a few together so that we don't slip up and not take enough. But yeah, it'll be interesting. There's some big news coming on that one. Some big announcements from him. He is incredibly generous. I think he's at the stage now where he is, you'll see by what he's going to tell you that he's doing, you'll see just how much he's invested in the space and for the love of the space as well. And I think that's, as you say, Eddie, we're very lucky to have him, quite frankly.
Yeah. And some people think that the metaverse is so distant or on another plane, or they don't want to enter it. But actually, we're kind of already in that space already. And the fact that the music creators and the fans can have this new kind of relationship and be close to the actual musician itself. I mean, it brings a whole new level of being a fan, I think. I don't know. I like it. I'm really
I hear you. I think some of them, and I get this as well. So we've spoken to, again, I can't say because I'm not contractually allowed to yet, but some of them are real introverts, these, you know, these creators and these writers and these players. And I think they are absolutely terrified of the idea of, well, what does that mean? Like, will people have to like me, not my music anymore? And, you know, so there is this, and that's okay too. There is this world of intrepidation but that's being laid before us. And I understand that. And people talk about the metaverse and they automatically like look at like your background, Eddie. They go into, because it's this huge, almost vacuous realm where anything's possible. And that's relatively intimidating. And there's a reason why I'm just sat in my room with my radiator. You know, it's like I'm a real person still in the real world. And I think with these artists, there's just, they'll figure out their own way of doing it, and what they want, how much they want to give, and how much interaction they'll have. And I think that's what's lovely. There is going to be no cookie cutter formula for once that a corporation can then take, optimize, monetize, and just spin out like a mass scale, so that again it just comes like a consumable, because that's such a shame. And if you think about how many songs are released on, you know, some of the streaming platforms every day, and you can even look at it for like film formats on some of those streaming platforms as well, we've turned what is essentially an art form into a commodity, and that's a real shame. And that reduces the value of it too. So I think the yes, it's a little bit scary. No, it doesn't have to be. Yes, you can tailor it your way. No, that doesn't mean that you have to completely change who you are or the kind of way you want to work with people. I think it's fine. Again, we'll figure it out as we go along, you know. And like, yeah, Snoop will be on the AMA with friends, and they will answer questions from fans. And you know, I don't know if you remember, but I certainly remember in the 90s, you know, when you had those, like before social media, you know, when you had those chat shows and you could phone in and pose your question, and we're almost going back to that. And there's just something really authentic and exciting and lovely about that, because we got really social and then we got really impersonal all at the same time. And I love the fact that if we could get the best of both worlds together in Web3, that would be a win, I think.
Yeah,
I'm
as a
sorry,
fan,
my answers are so long, aren't they?
no,
I
it's
just
good.
talk.
I'm just, you took me back to days when I grew up in California, and we used to hang out. We used to find out where they would be playing, and then we would go hang out behind the venues, and we would try to take a picture with them, talk to them, touch them, Journey and Doobie Brothers and Santana, and
Santana, oh,
uh-huh.
I said that one of the best riffs of all time. Santana, yes.
Well, so many. Black Magic Woman maybe is the one what with the riff you're thinking of, but there's so many great ones. Anyway, that whole fan experience, I think, can be to a whole new level with blockchain and metaverse. So I'm welcoming it. I don't see it as a scary place at all. Yeah.
And I think it's complementary to the live experience. So we were at Polestar a little while ago, and we were chatting to those guys, and I think, years back it was, you wouldn't want to give up your physical ticket, you would want the stub, you would want that paper in your hand, and everybody was like, oh, I'm not sure. And now, when you ask the audience how many of you just use tickets on your phones, it's like, yeah, I do. And I think that there's something about evolution that it's inevitable, and you can either start shaping it and be ahead of it and change it and make it what you feel like it should be for the betterment of everyone, or you can kind of just get swept along, and all of us have the choice of what we want to do and at what part we want to jump in and be part of it or not. So I think you're right. I don't think I think it is a bit scary, but I think it's massively complementary. And there is nothing like standing in I never stand in a concert. I definitely jump up and down in a concert. That's kind of my thing. My feet are always sore. There's nothing like being with a group of people that are immersed in experience as much as you. Nothing like it. But there is something that we can do when you can't do that every week, that we can build an experience around it and get you closer and let you feel some of that magic at a distance, and some of that ownership as well, thanks to the blockchain. So all of that's positive.
Yeah, gosh, I love it. And we see this industry as being a lot of billions of dollars being poured into it, but music still hasn't received the money that I think it deserves. And I just am kind of curious, how do we change that? Or how do you think that will change?
I think we need to be a bit braver. I said a stat on a chat the other day about how 48% of the money that's pouring in for technology into the blockchain space is focused on finance. 1% is focused on entertainment and media. And I think we've known and been involved in blockchain for a long time now, and a lot of the use cases, if you're going to go into consultancy speak, are definitely around finance, security. It's these big sort of invisible industries almost, that quite frankly doesn't invoke passion, does it?
Where's the fun
where's
factor?
the fun? And at the end of the day, like, you don't miss what you don't have, and we're giving people what they have, but we're telling them it's a better way of doing it. And it's like when you change your bank account, you don't, because it's not that exciting. You've got lethargy around it. So I think what's interesting is it's going to take a few bold, brave people. We've talked about Snoop a lot. BT is somebody else who is one of the nicest humans possibly to walk the face of the earth, incredibly talented. And the more people like those people, Paris Hilton, people that are coming into the space, and I'm just talking about the names, there's 10 tons of them. If you hang out in a Twitter space 2 or 3 times, a week, you will find them. They are there. They are the ones that are building this world for us, with us, because of us. And I think the braver we get, the more moves that we can make. And for once, we don't need, yes, Gala has definitely invested a lot of money. We've done over 200 million this year alone in game investment. So we are absolutely putting money into the space because we believe in it so much. However, just to be here and to support and to watch and to follow, that's good too, because it's something that I think it's snowballing. It's only going to gain in momentum, and people will find the stuff that they want to engage with. And then it will, I hope it's not just the big companies getting involved. I hope that, we don't just have people coming in and trying to buy up what they think is they've got the right to in this space. But you know, money means that you know, more people can get involved, and technology gets better. So I guess it's a balance, like everything.
Yeah. So you have some projects coming up in the future that you want to tell us about, and to be in combination with that, I'm just kind of curious too, the size of the platform. How many artists do you think we're going to see in 5 years? And then, yeah, what that kind of future roadmap looks like. I'm sure it's, you know, got a lot of avenues, left, right, middle, and all at the same time, but I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah, it's a monster. It's an absolute monster. Eventually, to answer your question directly about how many artists and what will the size be, there's a self-serve element to Gala Music that's coming. So artists can join. We have a really lovely curation process, but we also have a proof process, which basically means if you can find a fan fit, and you can start small, you can then progress and you can earn, and therefore you can actually support yourself without having to sell any of your work. So I think, as in the rights to any of your work. So I think it is limitless in that sense. I certainly don't envision us being something that you could, oh, we just go there to listen to music. We've got 10 tons of places we can go to listen to music. So I think this is about discovery, it's about support, and it's about reward. They're the three things that, you know, essential, and that's for everybody. So that's for an artist, that's for a fan, that's just for a supporter as well. And I think that's what's really exciting. So I would say limitless. We have a fair amount of artists that we're talking to right now, yes. We'll probably get into a bit of a rhythm of like announcing someone new each week, I would imagine, at this point. And again, it's just building to making sure the node network can go live, and that the listen to earn is doing all the things we expect it to. So for us, we started with games, which is an incredibly complex thing, to create experiences that people want to, you know, have over and over and daily. And for us, that self-sustaining ecosystem is absolutely vital. No artist, whether you're emerging or established, wants to do a drop and then inadvertently upset or, like, you know, sell their fans short in some way, because they then have got this NFT that they don't know what to do with, and the floor's dropping and all of that stuff. It puts everybody in an awful situation. So what we need to do is something this isn't about NFTs. This isn't really about blockchain. This is about content ownership and experience and doing things in a new way. And, you know, rather than having a 3-minute song, what's a 15-minute song look like? What does that look like when you put film over it? What does that look like when you get a famous photographer involved in some of it? What does it look like when you launch it with somebody else and they're interwoven? I think there's so many exciting things when you unleash creativity that we don't even know what music is going to do. And for once, I just think that feels different. That doesn't feel like a promise of a new streaming service or an incremental change. That's a leap. And that's what we're excited to be helping and supporting. We sure as hell don't want to own it. So we're helping and supporting it. And that's our attitude. And that's exactly how we work with Snoop, supporting him to own his own stuff. And no artist from us that works with us is ever going to relinquish their IP to us, ever, ever.
Brilliant. Okay, I'm going to let you go because I know you have a huge day ahead of you, and I want to get this up so everybody has a chance to learn about the coming live. And I just have some fire away questions that are just fun. This is the fun factor. So if I ask you, which one, wine or beer?
Wine. That was a bit too keen at my time in the morning, but definitely wine. I don't smoke, but I definitely drink.
Red or white?
Pink.
Oh, me too. Okay.
And bubbly.
Okay, me too. French or Italian?
Italian.
Oh gosh. Sicilian or Northern? I can't really think of a good region for the North.
Sicilian, just because, you know,
Sicilian.
that sounds great. Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as it's dry, I'm happy.
Yeah, yeah, I'm a real pink bubbly fan too as well. Okay, Android or Apple?
Oh, this is so controversial because 90%, 95% of our company are Android because
Ah,
we are developers.
yeah.
And Bucks always has they always tease me because I'm Apple. I'm
Oh.
Apple all the way.
It's okay.
I'm
Uh,
sorry.
no, that's totally fine. Tacos or sushi?
Tacos,
Chicken or beef?
beef.
Carne asada or ground?
I don't know what those are. What are
Oh,
those?
well, carne asada is the slow cooked beef that kind of pulls apart like a pulled pork, except it's
Oh,
beef. And
that
then the
sounds good.
ground beef, of course, is just the ground beef. That's okay. I'm
I would
getting
I would eat either of
technical.
those, but probably the first. Yeah, pull
Uh-huh.
apart. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
like food a lot and
Me
carbs.
too. Yeah. Who doesn't?
Carbs particularly.
Well, I think that that is just fantastic to have talked to you today. And I really appreciate the time because I know you are in high demand and you're very busy with all of the projects. I wish you the very best of luck. And I'm sure you're going to hit a lot of those milestones on, on a rapid time scale because this space is so fast.
It
But I
is.
do want to
Need a
check in
time
with you
machine.
again soon and see how everything's going. And I wish you the very, very best. And thank you so much. And good luck
Oh, Eddie,
today
thank you so much.
with your
Really
live
appreciate
stream.
you.
You're welcome. All right, Sarah, take
See you
care.
soon. Bye.
Sayonara for now. Bye-bye.
Bye.